Good day to all! Welcome to Sophie's Vlog. This is Lenly Logroño of BS Ed Social Studies 3. For today's video, I'll discuss the similarities and differences between summative and formative assessments. But before we go through the said topic, let's recall the two concepts. When we talk about summative assessment, we must remember that these are used to evaluate student learning, skill acquisition, and academic achievement after a defined instructional period, typically at the end of a project, unit, course, semester, program, or school year. While formative assessment refers to a wide variety of methods that teachers use to conduct in-process evaluations of students' comprehension, learning needs, and academic progress during a lesson, unit, or course. Formative assessments help teachers identify concepts that students are struggling to understand, skills they are having difficulty acquiring, or learning standards they have not yet achieved, so that adjustments can be made to lessons, instructional techniques, and academic support. Now that we've already understood the two concepts, let's go through the similarities and differences. Firstly, let's discover their differences. Again, as what I have said earlier, that formative assessment refers to a variety of assessment procedures that provides the required information to adjust teaching during the learning process, while the summative assessment is defined as a standard for evaluating learning of students. Next, formative assessment is diagnostic in nature, while summative assessment is evaluative. Third, formative assessment is an assessment for learning, whereas summative assessment is an assessment of learning. Then, formative assessment occurs on an ongoing basis, either monthly or quarterly. On the other hand, summative assessment occurs only at specific intervals, which are normally end of the course. Fifth, formative assessment is conducted to enhance the learning of the students. Conversely, summative assessment is conducted to judge students' performance. Next, formative assessment is undertaken to monitor students' learning, as opposed to summative assessment that aims at evaluating students' learning. Lastly, the value of grades of formative assessment is less than the summative assessment, in a sense that grades obtained in formative assessment will talk about the student's understandability, while grades of summative assessment will determine whether the students should be promoted or not. Therefore, the principal difference between these two assessment procedures is that while the formative assessment is a kind of the instructional process, summative assessment is a sort of grading process. A balanced assessment is based on both the two that provides necessary information about the next steps of the teachers and to measure students' learning regarding the content standard. Those are their differences. Then, what are the similarities of the two? First, summative assessment and formative assessment are methods of course evaluation. Course evaluation happens when an instructor assesses students based on their performance or participation in training. It helps the teacher to evaluate the effectiveness of the course, whether during the course or at the end. Second, summative and formative assessments are used to gather student feedback. However, while feedback is an important part of formative assessment as teachers need to act on it, summative assessment feedback is routine and does not have any immediate influence on the results of the evaluation or how the students are graded. Lastly, summative and formative assessments can be done using surveys, questionnaires, and quizzes. However, these tools will be used distinctly, and the data will be interpreted differently depending on the type of assessment. Having a clear understanding of summative and formative assessments helps you to monitor the progress towards the learning objectives and to also improve the teaching and learning process. Summative and formative assessments work simultaneously to define the learning and teaching experience. A strong classroom assessment program combines formative and summative assessment methods to give a balanced evaluation of the students' knowledge and skills. With careful thought and planning processes, the instructor will collect useful and important information that speaks to specific learning purposes. That would be all. Again, this is Lenly Astroganyo, hoping that you've learned a lot while listening at the same time enjoying. Stay safe and healthy, everyone. Bye!